Hello. Welcome to the Welpa channel.
There is 1 month left before the start of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. But not all of the top players will take part in this year's main sporting event. We will tell you about those who will definitely not take the field as part of the national teams of the countries, as well as about those whose fate may be decided at the last moment. Reece James, England. The defender became the third right back of the England national team to be injured in a month. In an official statement, Chelsea said that James' recovery will take 8 weeks. If so, Reece will never have time to return to the start of the tournament. Trent Alexander-Arnold, England. Liverpool defender Trent Alexander-Arnold has suffered a groin injury. However, the recovery was quick and he returned earlier than planned and has already played against City. So Trent can also play at the 2022 World Cup. Kyle Walker, England. Kyle Walker was injured in the match against Manchester United. And although the player's recovery from groin surgery is ahead of schedule, but even with the most optimistic forecast, Walker is likely to miss the start of the 2022 World Cup. Calvin Phillips, England. Another England player is trying to recover for the World Cup. The City prop injured his shoulder and underwent surgery. But Guardiola is optimistic, according to the coach. Before the match with Liverpool, Phillips was closer to returning than Walker. N'Golo Kanté, France. The Chelsea midfielder had hamstring problems, which he unexpectedly aggravated during the recovery process. This was confirmed by Graham Potter the other day. And later the club announced that Kanté had undergone surgery, because of which he would remain out of the game for 4 months. Paul Pogba, France. The second main midfielder of the French national team has not played since the summer. He had knee surgery. Allegri said that before January, the return of the field should not be expected. But they write that the recovery is going well. There is a small chance that Pogba will still have time for the World Cup. Lucas Hernandez, France. The defender has been injured since the match against Barcelona in mid-September. He recently returned to running training. The agent promises recovery for the World Cup. But Julian Nagelsmann is not so optimistic. The injury is very serious. He needs to undergo another examination. There is no hurry. Boubacar Kamara, France. The versatile midfielder had a good season at Marseille, which earned him a call-up to the French national team for summer matches and a move to the Premier League. And then Boubacar got a knee injury. He will return only at the very end of November. It is unlikely that Deschamps will take him to Qatar in this state. Paulo Dybala, Argentina. Dybala sparkled at Roma, but was injured in the match against Lecce when he kicked a penalty. Jose Mourinho scared everyone that Paulo is definitely past the trip to Qatar and will not return before the new year. But after the examination, it turned out that everything was not so bad. There are still chances. Angel Di Maria, Argentina. According to forecasts, the Juventus midfielder should return just before the World Cup. Angel had a hip injury. But Di Maria is so brittle that this is not even his first injury in a couple of months in Italy. Marco Reus, Germany. A big tournament is coming up, which means Marco Reus's health problems are getting worse. In mid-September, the captain of Borussia had a rupture of ankle ligaments. Marco has already returned and managed to play a half against Union in the Bundesliga. Leroy Sane, Germany. The Bayern striker, who has gained excellent form, injured his left hip in the winning match against Freiburg. The Munich club has not yet made any forecasts for recovery, but the fans of the German national team have tensed up. Marcelo Brozovic, Croatia. Brozovic is the main midfielder of Inter in the Croatian national team. He broke down in the September Nations League match and has already missed 3 rounds of Serie A due to a hamstring injury. According to forecasts, it will return around November 4th. Ronald Araujo, Uruguay. The Barcelona defender was supposed to be the new wall in the center of the Uruguay national team's defense. But he has a serious injury. He went into surgery and has already begun recovery. He will definitely not play for Barcelona before the World Cup. A trip to Qatar is unlikely. A big loss. Raúl Jiménez, Mexico. The main Mexican striker was having a hard time recovering from a severe head injury, but he had to go to the 2022 World Cup. But already during the season, he began to have serious problems with his hip. Now Raúl is recovering in Mexico in the hope of making it to the start of the World Cup. Jesus Corona, Mexico. The Sevilla midfielder is still in Spain, but the Mexican Football Federation is already saying that Jesus needs to return to his homeland and recover from a fibular fracture under the supervision of the national team doctors. If this does not happen, then you can forget about going to the World Cup. Georginio Wijnaldum, Netherlands. The fact that the vice-captain of the Netherlands will miss the World Cup, it became known in the summer. Jorginho was seriously injured. He should return only after the new year. Bruno Martins, Indy, Netherlands. In the summer, Louis van Gaal returned the defender to the national team, but Bruno will definitely not reach Qatar. In September, Indy broke down in the Oz match against Ajax. Diogo Jota, Portugal. Liverpool beat Manchester City, but there was also bad news. Diogo Jota was injured in the 94th minute. The Portuguese striker underwent a medical examination, the disappointing results of which were announced by Jurgen Klopp. We are talking about several months, not weeks. Tarek Al-Ahly, Morocco. The Moroccan striker had a very strong last season at Hague, but at the very beginning of this he tore crosses. And he definitely won't go to the 2022 World Cup, but it could have been the main and breakthrough tournament for the 29-year-old Al-Ahly. Bouna Sarr, Senegal. In Bayern, Sarr may not be the main one, but for the Senegal national team, he is a very important player on the right flank. In September, Bouna had surgery on his left knee, which dashed hopes for a trip to the 2022 World Cup. Arthur Melo, Brazil. Arthur really wanted to go to the World Cup, and he had chances to go there with the Brazilian national team. Tite does not have an overabundance of personnel in the center of the field, so Arthur received a small portion of playing time even this year. For the sake of the trip, Arthur was gaining form with Liverpool without rest, but eventually broke down before the new year. "It was my dream to play at the World Cup," admitted the footballer.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe so you don't miss our